So after posting the Bertrand's Paradox thing, I ended up with 2 more subscribers, which is notable because I only have like 15, 16, 17, something like that. Like that's a large increase, right? I had 17 and gained 2, so that brought me up to 19, and I was like, what the fuck? And these are probably people from Numberphile because um, that's where I posted links to that video because that was the most relevant and prescient sort of place to put that because I saw the Bertrand's Paradox from Numberphile. So it was like, oh, hey, look here. And those subscribers are now gone. This does not surprise me. Honestly, I think it's a good thing. Because if you are that shallow and uh, really just cowardly, if you're that much of a wimp that the sorts of things that I'm saying, when I'm basically just pointing out that I'm not going to kowtow to monsters and that I'm not going to arrange my life to accommodate the whims of an absolute stranger. If this is the kind of thing that offends you, good, go away. I don't want you around. The kind of people that I would like to have around are much harder to find and are going to be interested in the things that I'm saying without me looking for them. They'll come, right? We can establish a community, a friendship, whatever. And it's going to be free of asshats like this that you pick up from channels like Veritasium and Numberphile and Vsauce and Thunderfoot, right? These channels are meant to entertain primarily, so and to pander to the populist notions, to less than average intelligent human beings. This is how you gain popularity. You have to you have to pander to people who are of below average intelligence but don't know it. And similarly to people who have some sort of an ego complex where they they're going to want you to act like their ideal version of what a person should act like. But like I've noted, this is manipulation. This is the sort of these sorts of ideals usually come from people who are monsters. And I'm not going to alter who I am, how I do business, what I, you know, how I operate to accommodate monsters. That's it. That's it. If you're afraid of profanity, sorry. Right? Like, so let me tell you a little story. This isn't a story that I wasn't gonna, I don't know. This isn't the kind of thing that I normally talk about. But it is a normal sort of situation that I find myself in. So I'm going to tell you a little story about last night. Late last night, Christmas Eve. It's probably about 10, 9:30, something like that. It's late, it's cold. I'm doing a delivery, pull into a Chinese restaurant. Pull into, the layout of their parking is strange. I still don't understand it. But basically, where I parked was the wrong place to park. So like but it was weird. It was confusing. It was kind of like obviously wrong, but it was also like I'm at the restaurant, and there's an entrance. It was like a back entrance or something. It was strange. I don't know. Anyway, so I get out and I'm kind of looking around. I'm like, is this the right place? GPS is telling me that it's kind of right, but it's telling me to go to the other side of the building, which is much harder to get to, which I guess is the front. I don't know. Whatever. So I'm like looking around, and suddenly I hear a voice. She says, "Oh, I'll leave." What the hell? I didn't even know there was a person there. I didn't, it's dark. I didn't see anything. What the hell is that? Um, and it's this homeless lady with bags of shit, and she's wrapped up in several coats and whatever. And I was like, oh no, I was just making sure I'm in the right place. You're fine. And she's like, no, I'll get going. I know people don't like to have me around. And I'm like, okay, no. In my head, I'm thinking, no, this is not cool. So I walk around my car over to her and just have a little conversation with her and like talk about what how we could make her Christmas a little bit better, and I give her some money and ask her if she needs like a blanket or anything, because whatever. I have shit in my car that I'm not particularly attached to. Like if it can do somebody else some better than it's doing me, or somebody needs it more than I do, whatever. And it was just a simple interaction, but the fact that her first reaction to me was basically just like fear, and that she should disappear and become invisible. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. The people that I am not going to pander to are the people who create those sorts of situations. Right? It's the people who set up the situation where this homeless woman thinks that she doesn't deserve to exist. She doesn't deserve to just sit down for a few minutes on Christmas Eve and relax and not be walking and hiding. Like, if you can't understand why I'm not going to change my views to accommodate that, I don't even know what to say. You're a fucking monster. And this is, honestly, this is about the least of it. This is about the least of it that I've seen, right? Because, as I'm sure some of you have know because I've mentioned it before, I used to work at juvie, at the jail, and at juvie. And my students would be kids who were sex trafficked. Kids who were involved in drug trade and, all kinds of shit. Like, I've seen some shit. I've seen the worst of humanity up close and in a lot more detail than probably most of you have. Anyone who's complaining about me on YouTube, I've probably seen more shit than you have. Right? I've sat down for hours with murderers, children who strangled the life out of other human beings. I've sat with them for hours and taught them how to do basic math, how to read. In some cases, about their own native culture, how to speak their own native language, which their parents couldn't do, they didn't know it. So really, you're going to look at me because I use profanity and say that I'm a bad person. And never look inside yourself. Never recognize that these sorts of situations are caused by people with your values. That there's something broken with the society that you're promoting. That there's something broken with your ways that you're pushing, and that you're trying to pressure me to also participate in. I'm not going to do it. I am not going to cave and accommodate you. And I don't care what you think of that. Because at the end of the day, you're wrong.